What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Fight Day MMA Show with your host, Kayla Nero, and my main man, Kanan Sonye. And today we're going to be bringing y'all a post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night Figueredo versus Benavidez 2. For me, this card didn't go very well. I definitely should have done a lot more research, and we had a new crowning of a new king of the fight-picking game for the Fight Day MMA Show, and that'll be my man, Kanan Sonye, who cleaned the table with me this past week, especially after my poor performance on Saturday. But that's all right, guys. We sometimes we win some, we lose some. This just definitely wasn't my week. A lot more research needed to be done, especially into a couple guys who were fairly new to the UFC that I wasn't 100% familiar with. But that's all right. So for our first fight, we're just going to, like I said, for these fight cards, guys, again, we're just going to be doing the main cards. So the first fight on the main card was Alexander Pantoja versus Askar Askarov. Me and Kanan kind of disagreed on who would win this fight, and I still disagree on who won the fight. I'll let Kanan kind of break it down to y'all, and then I'll kind of give y'all my take on it as well.
So, man, this fight was on the ground a lot. There was a lot of the pace was being pushed in this fight. Nobody was getting a breather. Everybody was going full steam ahead. It ended in a unanimous decision for Askarov, who that was my boy. I picked him. That boy from Dagestan. You have to respect that. Well, Askarov came out, man. He was just pushing the pace. As soon as the fight got to the ground, Pantoja showed his BJJ prowess in that fight. His BJJ prowess, it was ridiculous. He was rolling, getting into several submissions. I want to say he threw in 4 submission attempts in the first round. And I didn't know if he would get the finish. I was getting worried for a second there because I really thought he would in that first round. But Askarov kept pushing. He kept getting out. He was never phased. I also found out that Askarov was deaf in this fight. And I was like, everything he was doing, he was in it mostly deaf. He can't hear his corner. So he's really in there by himself. He can't hear what they're saying. And I think that's crazy. Like, you got to be in the right mental mindset. He's
rushing, man. All he thinks is takedown.
Bro, that's really what he was doing, pushing the pace. Yep. You could tell Pantoja was tired in this fight. In the second round, you can see he was breathing heavy. He was breathing heavy. He wasn't used to this pace. And I said this in the pre-fight show for this. Askarov keeps the pressure. He's a pressure fighter, and that's what he was gonna do in this fight. Takedown after takedown. He got stuff. He was going for another one.
Right.
And Askarov, to me, he even showed his hands in this fight. He was landing. He was countering, landing. I wasn't impressed by his striking in this fight, and I think Askarov won this fight. I would say it was a 2-3. I give Pantoja a round, but it was unanimous, and my boy Askarov from Dagestan did his work.
See, so I agree with you on the points that Askarov definitely pushed the pace of the fight. He definitely had the octagon control, and I mean that did score a lot, or it's worth a lot for the scoring of the fight. However, like you said, Pantoja threw up 4 submissions. He threw up a guillotine, which is the only reason it really got to the ground in the first. He threw up the guillotine, and he almost had it. Then he slipped free. Then he went for the omoplata, slipped free. Then he went for the armbar, slipped free. Then he went for the triangle, and he slipped free. There was a lot of offense being shown by Pantoja on the ground in that first round that I didn't see Askarov really have the same kind of offense. He really wasn't landing any ground strikes, so I felt the ground exchange definitely went to Pantoja, and then Pantoja ended the round on his back. So I definitely gave round 1 to Pantoja. Round 2, Askarov really showed good striking, but I found Pantoja was able to land some body kicks and some real good strikes in there as well. Askarov definitely controlled the pace, though, and was able to get him down to the ground. And he really just held him up against the cage and really tested Pantoja's will in that second round. So I gave that round to Askarov. And then for the third round, I found it was really, really even throughout the entire round, except that the only real major event that I saw that happened in that round was when Pantoja dropped Askarov. So I gave Pantoja the round just based off of the fact that he was able to drop him. It was early in the round. And throughout the rest of the round, Askarov kind of did do a little bit more with pressure and might have landed a few more shots, but still the only big moment that round was when Pantoja dropped him. So that's why I gave him the third round. Ultimately, both of these guys, no one got robbed in this fight. This isn't really a robbery. I just felt that if I were judging the fight, I would have had Pantoja winning the fight. But, I mean, that's all up to discretion and up to the judges. It's not up to me. So, yeah, 0-1 for me, 1-0 for Kanan.
I think this fight puts him in line to either get a rematch Moreno, who he had a draw with in his UFC debut, or it puts him in a chance for a shot at the title. Because there's not many – that weight class isn't loaded by any means. But I think this either puts him in next for a title shot, or he has a rematch from Moreno.
Joey B coming off a loss, man, might take that fight just to try and go out on a win over a good guy. I can see that potentially happening. Pantoja probably fights down. Maybe. I really don't know too many guys in that flyweight division. Excuse me. But there's going to be a guy who's probably in that 8 to 6 range who's going to get Pantoja next. I'm sure. All right, guys, for our next fight, we had a fight in the women's flyweight division between Ariane Lipski, the Queen of Violence, and Luana Carolina. Coming into this fight, I saw both of these girls are both Muay Thai experts, and Luana Carolina was a Muay Thai world champion multiple time. So I thought this fight was going to stay on the feet, and I thought Luana was going to be able to use her reach advantage and those long arms and really be able to kind of piece her up. And for the little bit of time that it was on the feet, Luana did a good job of kind of controlling the distance with her leg kicks. And I thought that was how the fight would play out until Ariane Lipski put her on the ground and then took her ACL. That was a nasty knee bar. It was kind of weird because she kind of put herself in a calf slicer. I don't think Luana really had the experience to know what to do to finish that submission. But Ariane basically set her own self up for a calf slicer, but then was able to isolate the knee on Luana and put her through some pain. She was yelping and complaining about it probably a minute and a half after it happened, So, yeah, fight played out a whole lot different than what I was going to do, or what I thought it was going to be. But, that's just something you can't really predict, And, again, I have to give it to Kanan, man. He called it. I guess the experience factor paid off.
That's fully what I believe in this fight. The experience was the big key. She got in an awkward position. That was a really weird position. I didn't know what was going to happen from that position. She almost had her back and her leg was kind of like tilted on her body. She's like sitting on her. All of a sudden, she just beam eyes that knee, has a laser on that knee, slowly just works it straight and then comes back. I was freaking out. I never seen anything like this. And I was like, okay. And she practically ripped the bottom half of her leg away from her knee.
See, normally what happens with the knee bar is you're on your back and the person's on your belly, like you're trying to go almost for a rear naked choke, except you isolate the leg. The Zabit Brandon Davis example, where this Lipski literally sat down into Luana and gave up her back, gave up a calf slicer if Luana would have been any more experienced, but isolated the knee, was able to straighten it out, kind of torqued it towards her, put her, I'd say her cup, where the guy would have a cup, put her hips on the right underside of the knee, grabbed the top of the ankle and really torqued it there and used her pelvis, I guess is the bone I'm thinking of, or her crotch area as a fulcrum for that knee to be able to bend back like that. And I'm sure y'all saw
it was instant.
Yeah. I'm sure y'all, I don't know if y'all watched the fights per se, but I'm sure y'all saw the post on Instagram by ESPN MMA or even the UFC. It was brutal, man. It kind of looked like this, my football fans, like the Zach Miller catch against the Saints, where his knee bent backwards and they had to rush him to the hospital to save his leg. Wasn't that extreme, but it was starting to get there, man. Any more time without her tap and her knee probably would have been pushed in like that. It's crazy.
Lipski was awarded not a fight night. He was awarded a performance bonus for that, and she deserved it, bro.
That's not a submission you see often,
It was nasty for sure. And my girl Lipski came out experience, triumphs, in this one, not the next one.
All right, so for this next fight, guys, we both got this one wrong. So this was Mark Dikasi versus Rafael Fiziev. And I wasn't really sure who Rafael was. I know he had some kickboxing experience coming into this fight. I want to say he had almost 200 pro and amateur kickboxing fights. But I thought Dikasi was going to have the strength advantage, and I thought he was going to definitely have the punching power advantage. But Rafael is a coach and trainer at Tiger Muay Thai, so he's really experienced. His body kick sounded like he was slapping Dikasi across the chest with a piece of bamboo. It sounded like a lightning was going off in the Flash Forum, I think is where they were fighting at in Abu Dhabi. But man, it was a really good fight. I felt the first 2 rounds definitely was Fiziev. Dude went Neo in the Matrix a couple times throughout the fight. His reaction time was amazing. His body shots were amazing. His leg kicks were amazing. He was really sharp. He was really strong. He looks to be a true contender at 55. He's going to be a problem. I think he's really going to be a problem. But I thought if the fight would have went 5 rounds, I think Takashi might have got him. It looked like Fiziev kind of started to wear out a little bit. And the third round, Fiziev did land more shots, I believe, by the numbers, but Takashi was really starting to land a little bit. I just think Takashi needed a little bit more time to kind of feel him out and read his movements, and he could have got him figured out. But, yeah, I mean, what can you say? It was a really good fight. Both of these guys are really good, really bright futures, both really hard hitting, very technical strikers. So, I mean, those are always the ones that are going to be your 50-50s, you know?
I feel like in this fight, Fiziev, he showed that he knows exactly what he's doing. Everything he did was pinpoint. It was precise. Him dodging those leg kicks, like you said, like they said, the announcer said, like he was the Matrix. Bro, I was freaking out.
He had done that before in a Muay Thai fight as well.
I was freaking out. Homie was expecting him. He was just watching him just coming back, and I'm just like that's crazy. You don't see it that much. Most guys push out the way, try to move, turn. But he's sitting there just, nope. He was smooth in everything he did. He's definitely surprised me. Definitely somebody that I definitely keep on my radar whenever he's fighting again because I want to watch. It was a very intriguing fight and one fight of the night, and they all saw what we saw. I think it was a great fight. He definitely surprised a lot of people, including us. We had him doubted, and he proved that he's definitely a force to possibly be reckoned with.
Right. I feel so. He's in the 155-pound division, man. I feel that Cowboy Cerrone might be having a Kyrgyzstan Thai boxer knocking on his door here, man. I think because Donald, I want to say, he's at 11 right now or 13 maybe. Last time I checked the rankings. And I think that would be an interesting fight. Both guys are Muay Thai guys. Fiziev's obviously the more technical guy, but I think Cerrone's experience will really test Fiziev to see if he's really a true contender. Put Cowboy to that gatekeeper use, you know? Sad to say, but it's where he is. All righty, guys. So for the next fight, we had Kelvin Gastelum versus Jack Hermansson in the co-main event. This was a good fight. It played out kind of how I expected. I mean, I picked Jack Hermansson to win, but I didn't expect it to end this way. Hermansson did a really good job of going for an outside trip to try and get Kelvin down really early in the fight. But then Kelvin really dropped his center of gravity and just hip tossed him. Or lat threw him, I think is the correct term. Can't correct me if I'm wrong. Lat drop. He lat dropped him. Yeah, see, I'm still, guys, this is why I have the wrestling expert on here. So he lat dropped him, and he was able to get him down. And Kelvin's defense was really terrible, man. So Hermansson went for the ankle lock or the Achilles lock or the heel hook, whatever you want to call it. He went for the heel hook once, and Kelvin was able to spin out of it. He wasn't able to really get a good grip on the foot. But then Kelvin really got himself right back in the same situation when he tried to step over, and Jack locked the leg up. And what Kelvin needed to do there was push his butt off the leg. Push his foot off the butt to really try and yank his leg out of there. But he kind of just sat down on his hip and just kind of let it happen. With Gastelum being a black belt, I didn't expect him to get tapped to a very not complicated submission, such as a heel hook. I expected this fight to go 3 rounds with Hermansson dominating the wrestling and definitely staying on top and maybe catching him with an arm and guillotine late or something. But I didn't expect it to end this fast where Hermansson was literally wasn't able to get him down to the ground how he wanted to. Obviously, Kelvin lat dropped him and kind of shit whipped him onto the canvas. But after that, Hermansson really just took control and took over. Kelvin's on a skid now. I think Kelvin really needs a win right now in order to justify him staying in the top 10 at middleweight. And I think it's time for Kelvin to really figure out if he really wants to do this the right way. Because I've always said Kelvin just needed to buckle down, eat the right foods, and drop down to welterweight again. Because he's just too small for these guys in middleweight.
I thought Kelvin would have wanted to keep this fight on the feet. There was only 9 total strikes thrown, only three strikes landed. So if you were looking for them to stay on the feet in this fight, you didn't really enjoy this fight that much. But as soon as they got to the ground, we predicted that Hermansson would do all the wrestling. But when Kelvin got him to the ground, it was a bit of a surprise. But we also predicted that the ground wasn't where he wanted to be, and it proved to be that way as he got heel hooked. And he didn't even look like he was fully trying to stop it anywhere either.
Mm-hmm.
He just accepted it and tapped out. A minute 18 into the first round. Like, come on, man. You're a former intern champ, 3-fight losing streak. I mean, you lost to Adesanya. Okay. You lost to Till. Okay. You just got tapped out in the minute 18 by Hermanson. Like, you need to do something. You need to reevaluate your fighting career, what you want to do, and how bad you want it.
Right.
I believe if he dropped down, he might be the option for him because this weight class is not an easy one.
No, I mean, neither is 170 though. But I feel like he'd be a big 70. He's a small 85er. You know, he's a real small 85er.
That reach is no joke.
Right.
In this weight class. I think that Gastelum could possibly drop out the top 10 after this fight. I think he'll go with Brunson or Hall next. He needs to get back in the win column to even have anything going for him. Hermanson, I believe he might get a rematch with Cannonier, who knocked him out in the last fight, or he takes a loser of Whitaker-Till, because I think the winner of Whitaker-Till is going to be next in line for a title shot.
What I think is that he kind of called this at the end of the fight. I think Cannonier deserves the next title shot. Whitaker-Till winner fights the winner of Jack. Who did Jack say he wanted to fight? It was kind of like this tournament he set up, and I really liked what he said. I can't remember exactly what names he said in the post-fight interview. But
only
you guys
people
check
above
that
him
out.
are Till, Yoel, Costa, Whitaker.
Oh yeah, so he said Costa will fight Adesanya. Winner of that fight fights Cannonier, and then he'll fight the winner. Hermanson will fight the winner of Whitaker-Till, and the winner of that fight will fight the winner of Cannonier, Adesanya, Costa. That's what he had said. So, I mean, I think that sounds like a great idea. I'd love to see all those fights. So
A lot of interesting fights for sure.
Right. I think Hermanson would struggle with Whitaker, but I think Hermanson would actually do fairly well against Till. Just because Till was able to kind of get taken down and Darce real easily by Tyron Woodley. But yeah, we're not going to get into all that.
That was top notch. Woodley just.
Well, I think Woodley's losing motivation, man.
I don't think he wants to be there.
Right.
I think he in his head he's like, I don't really want to be here that much.
Right. All right. All righty. And so for the crazy main event. Man, my heart hurts for Joey B, man. Joseph Benavidez has always been one of my favorite fighters, especially in the flyweight division, because there's hardly ever anybody in the flyweight division that's interesting. But Joey B is just the nicest guy on the planet. And him and his wife, Megan Olivier, are just adorable. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart for them, you know?
They're adorable?
Yeah, man, they're an adorable couple, man. They're both like a little short people. So it's adorable. I don't know. Get off me. But so this fight went kind of the same as the last fight, almost, except Joe won the first round last time. Didn't win the first round this time. This might be the most dominant title fight performance we've seen since the McGregor Alvarez fight. And to
put this in perspective, Miro texted me in the middle of this first round and told me that Figueredo was the best flyweight in the world.
Definitely. Yeah. After whenever he blasted Joe like 10 seconds in and he fell, I was like, oh man, this isn't good. And then he blasted him again a couple minutes later. I was like, it's over. Like when I knew that happened. I mean, shout out to Joey B for going out on a shield, man. It takes a Valorant guy to just really go out and not tap. I mean, you really gotta want it. He did a really good job of defending the rear naked choke multiple times. He was hurt a few times. Joey B did everything he could to try to survive that round. But Figueredo was just way too much. He hit way too hard. He was better on the ground. I mean, he was just better everywhere. I think Figueredo is not going to get messed with in the flyweight division. I think he can go up to 35 and still be a heavy hitter and really challenge for the title there too. I hope he doesn't, because a lot of the times whenever you see these guys bouncing from division to division, it's nice to see these double champs and whatnot. But, man, it really puts these divisions on hold. It really makes it harder for these guys to climb up the rankings. So I really hope Figueredo stays around, defends the title a couple times, and then potentially maybe makes the move up to 35 as he kind of struggles making the weight. So at the beginning of the fight, though, before the fight even happened, whenever they showed Figueredo walking in, I saw his hands were already wrapped. And I was like, man, he's plastered his gloves, dog. That's why he hits that hard. You know, that's when I watched it the first time. Like Fig cheated, dude. And then I watched the fights back again today to where I can kind of get a more in-depth view of the fights, which I didn't even watch the main event again. When I saw Joey B walk in with his hands wrapped too, I was like, okay, Fig didn't cheat. So I just didn't realize that they got their hands wrapped in the hotel to limit contact within the facility. Anyways, yeah, poor Joey B. I really wanted him to win. I let my emotions get into my head whenever
you thought he was going to finish him in the fourth, fifth round.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought, man, he was going to be able to survive it because I really thought the headbutt really messed him up last time. I really thought the headbutt caused him to get concussed and get dropped. He won the first round. I really did think, yeah, man, he can come in here. He can survive it 3-4 rounds. Figueredo is one of those explosive guys. Those guys tend to slow down 4th, 5th round. Be able to kind of get him to the ground and tap it. Well, Figueredo came out there and freaking mollywop blasted his ass, dude. Just every time he touched Joe, he'd get hurt. It was the same thing with the Conor McGregor, Eddie Alvarez fight. Every time Conor touched Eddie, Eddie would fall. It's the same thing here. I mean, Figueredo is just too good, man. He's too good.
Man, this fight was crazy. Let me just tell you, put that in perspective. Figueredo, in the time they were on the feet, he dropped Benavidez twice. And the time they were on the feet, he landed 40 or 45 punches. 40 of those punches he landed, 35 of them were significant strikes. He was throwing to kill. And in the pre-fight, I told y'all this fight wasn't going past the third round. In the first 3 rounds, it would be ended. And Fig put that – he didn't let me down.
Nope.
I was proud. Like I said on the pre-fight when Nero picked Benavidez, I said, let me tell you where you're wrong.
I was big wrong this week, man. I can't say nothing. I can't talk any trash. I was big wrong this week.
But, man, this fight was – it was a good one. Figueredo put himself in position to just sit on top of that throne for a while because flyweight's not a loaded division by any means.
Figueredo just put himself on the pound-for-pound list, top 8 probably.
I believe that as well. And it was real sad. I mean, watching Benavidez just go limp because he wasn't tapping out. There was a lot of bad blood going into this fight.
Dude, when his eyes rolled back, I thought he died. I was like, oh, man.
Watching that post-fight, bro, he was in tears. He was like, I'm not giving up. He's like, I've done everything the right way. I've lost these title fights. I've done everything the right way. There's nothing I can do differently. And he just met a person who was better than him and did everything. He did everything he could, and it just wasn't good enough.
Right, and Joy B said that he said he's going to fight again. He said, I know I probably won't get to the title ever again, but I'm going to fight at least one more time to try and get a win before I go out because I don't want to go out like that. I mean, Joe's never been tapped ever in his career. I guess that kind of still stands, even though
he got put to sleep by a submission.
He didn't tap though.
It goes as a submission.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Joey B's just an all-around good guy, man. He's first team all person,
all person.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted Joey B to win, man. That kind of, like I said, I let my emotions get in the way of my critical thinking. Anyways, yeah, guys, so I guess that's kind of our take for these fights. Again, I suck at picking fights. Don't listen to me.
Call me the champ.
Yeah, call Kanan the champ. I'm going to get him back, though, man. We're going to shake back this month. We'll be all right. Anyways, so, yeah, guys, we'll be coming to y'all soon with the Till Whitaker main card breakdown. I'll be coming sometime toward the end of this week.
Probably Friday afternoon.
Something like that, yeah. We'll probably record hopefully Thursday night, and then we'll have it posted for Friday afternoon, hopefully. But yeah, guys, we'll be coming at y'all with that. And yeah, keep tuning in, guys. We love y'all. Thank y'all all for the support or the continued support. We're going to continue to try and make your MMA experience a lot better. Again, don't listen to my picks until I prove myself again, because
bet on me.
My picks were terrible. But if you want to bet on anybody, bet on Kanan's picks, But anyways, guys, again, thank y'all for coming. We love y'all.
We appreciate y'all.
Peace.